Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I am in London. We are going to see the Stranger Things theatre show. Very excited. I'm also going to film a couple of other videos while I'm here because we're going to go to the Lego store, and I figured why don't we take a little look around the Lego store, do a little vlog and see what they've got. But that's going to be a separate vlog, so I'll leave that linked below if it's live. If not, it'll be coming out very soon. And yeah, we're going to see the first Shadow. I can't wait. I'm not going to talk too much about it now because I want to start my Lego store video as we're almost there, but then I'll be back with you in a minute. So guys, we've just finished, well actually we finished a little while ago in the Hard Rock. We are now going into the Phoenix Theatre to watch the first Shadow. I cannot tell you how excited I am. I literally am freaking out. This is going to be, I'm hoping, so good. I'll be told to look for lots of Easter eggs, and apparently there is a Scoops Ahoy inside. Okay, let's go. So this is the upside down ice cream from Scoops Ahoy. Oh my god, that is good. I'm back. You can see I'm wearing the same stuff as I've been wearing in other videos. That's because I started editing this video and realised I hadn't actually finished this video. I never actually did the talking. So I've got some points over here, and I'm going to kind of look back and forth between the points and you guys because there's quite a few things I want to talk about. But first of all, the show was phenomenal. If you're a Stranger Things fan, oh my god, you have to go see it. At the time of recording this, they are making a Pro Shot, so Netflix will be getting one. Now, I will say, although I'm excited to watch the Pro Shot so I can see it again, I would highly recommend going to see it in the theatre. I'm not going to give massive spoilers, not massive spoilers, but there will be spoilers for the rest of this video, so I'm probably not going to go as in-depth as I could, but I am going to talk about the theatre, talk about the show, talk about how I feel about things, and things that I feel like you can only get the full effect of by going to see it in the theatre. So I just want to preface this now that I will be explaining some things, I will be talking about some things, so if you don't want any spoilers, then go see the show and then come back. So firstly, oh my god, it was insane. Like, it was so good. There were things popping out from everywhere. You had like the army like coming in the aisles of the theatre during the show. Like, oh my god, like wow, like oh, it was so cool. Like, there was at one point we were having like like US soldiers pointing torches at us, and like they were like going up to people and kind of like looking at them and stuff, which was so cool. You had like things in the balconies on the side, so like you had like a Demogorgon coming out of this side. You had I'm trying to think, there was something coming up that side, I can't remember what it was. You had like the dust particles, which I think was bubbles or something. You had them coming down when you saw it. You literally had like when he was going into his mind thing, you know, that thing that Elle goes through when she's going through the water. They literally had that like replicated on stage, and they had when you could see him going from destination to destination within that mind thing, because he basically would put static on, and they had, oh my god, the sound, like, I'm just going to be a bit everywhere for a second, but they had these like red, you know, like the Stranger Things red around the stage. They had it at the top of the stage at the front, and then at different points in the stage, and it would go like as it was going around, which was so cool. And then you would get to see like what was going on in certain places. So sometimes they'd have like a back panel on where you could see the things that were happening, or you could see him doing it and things going on stage left or stage right, or like in front or whatever, or you would see it happening and then you would see Henry doing it. You get to see so much about Henry's past, like so much. You get to see I've gone right out of order of my notes, but you get to see the original Henry Creel story. So Henry was literally just a boy who went to camp. I mean, obviously we all know that he went to camp and he found a suitcase. Now in that suitcase was the mind flayer, which went into him. Henry was just a boy in the wrong place and actually wasn't a bad child. Obviously I know he beats the man up and kills him, but I guess in that point of time it was like to be killed or to kill or to be killed. I'm guessing that's kind of where he went into a bit of flight or fight mode. You see him as a child and it literally changes everything. Like they have these bits, right? Sort of, this will link into this. So they have this screen, and when you were going on, it was like what is it they say, like chapter 1, episode 1, volume 1, whatever it was, and it would be like the da 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 da, and then we saw Hawkins from above. We saw like all of these news clippings. We saw all things about what was going on. We literally saw videos of Henry Creel's childhood. Like, so they obviously had younger actors coming in and doing like Henry Creel at like his 5th birthday and like when he was 7 and before he went off to camp, and you got to see what he was like as a child before he went off, which was on the screen, and then obviously it brought him back into the present. I genuinely felt so bad for him. As I said, he was a kid in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I think like there's a point in it where obviously his mother and his father and all that, they just don't know what to do with him, but she just slaps him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like no. And I felt so bad for his dad. Victor Creel has so much trauma. So Victor Creel was a part of the war. I think it was like the Cold War or something. And he's so deeply affected by the trauma that like little sounds set him off. So he's obviously got a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder. And the sounds and the memories haunt him. And there's like this bit where Henry's been taken over by the mind flayer and he's got Patty. And his dad is downstairs and like he hears things and it like sets him off. Like, and I think it's like Hopper and Joyce come in and it sets him off into like obviously like a trauma memory, and I just felt so bad for him, and like he gets blamed for all of these things, and actually at the end of the day he was just a man trying to make sense of the world after coming back from such a terrible moment, and you just feel so sorry for Victor Creel. It's just his family that are trying to start anew. Like even little Alice, she's a bit cruel about Henry, but obviously she was only young and he'd gone back from camp completely different. The Mind Flayer's influence, you can see, is so huge. It's like Henry tries to resist it and he tries to resist it and these little things happen. And he's like in the bathroom at one point and the bathroom like literally goes dark and the Mind Flayer is talking to him and he sees himself and he like, you can just see his body being taken over. And then you get like a projection of like Patty there and he thinks he's talking to Patty, but he's not. And then he like freaks out and he like punches things and he breaks stuff and it's just, he's absolutely just thinks he's going mental. And you just feel so sorry for him. And then Patty comes in and it's like, Patty, his first love. Oh my God. Oh my gosh, Patty, what a wonderful little character she was. Like, I say little, she was such a main character. She's a new guy. Well, she wasn't, he was the new guy at school and she was adopted by, I can't remember which family it was. Bob's family. She was adopted by the newbies. So she's Bob's like adopted sister. In this, you see Bob. Bob is like a radio host. Okay, look, I'm going to be real here. Lauren, you can call me out in the comments. Mum, you can call me out in the comments. Anybody who knew me, I genuinely thought in series 2, Bob was bad. Like the whole time. My brother always goes, justice for Bob. How dare you, Nikki? Because I thought he was bad, because when he told Will to go out and face it, and then Will got taken over, I thought maybe Bob was like working for the Mind Flayer, or for Papa or something. So he was a nice character. You see so much of him in here, and you get to see Bob, and you get to see him, and he's like fascinated. He's like obsessed with Joyce, and you get to see Joyce, the woman who played Joyce, sorry, I'm just going so off. The woman who played Joyce had her down to a T. She was exact. Like, she had Winona Ryder to a T. She looked just like her. She sounded just like her. Her mannerisms, everything. You saw Hopper. Hopper was very Hopper in here. It was just insane. Like, the play that you see, Oklahoma or whatever it's called, it was kind of like a name for it. It was actually Joyce's revenge against, like, everything that was going on in the school with the patriarchy and all that sort of stuff. And it actually wasn't that. They did a different show in the end. Oh my gosh, it was just phenomenal. Like, it was so good. There was a point in it where Patty Newby has kind of done the thing that Henry's done so she can get into his mind, because Henry's basically being told by Papa and Nat, he's been basically emotionally manipulated by them, and Papa gives him a choice, but it's not really a choice. It's kind of like, we can let you go and you could go off and do this, or you can, you know, you can take this on and we can help you and we can make you better and we can connect with it and we can get it, you know, we can do this, that and the other. And Patty manages to cloak in and get into his brain, and they notice on the screen that something's causing this, because she like genuinely loves him. So I don't know if she had some form of power, but she managed to get into his brain and not make the connection, because during this it's like Papa's trying to get Henry to connect to the Mind Flayer, because Henry was resisting it before. And then when Papa takes him over, because his mum calls Dr. Brenner and gets him to kind of do it. But Brenner doesn't start it off like that. Brenner actually starts off being really nice and just be like, it's okay, you can walk out of here if you want to. And obviously you can't. And he tries to get him, he starts off really chill, and then he starts to wind him up and wind him up and wind him up to the point that Henry has a bit of a breakdown because he doesn't want to kill the man behind the screen. Oh gosh, it's just so good. And I will say it has been a couple of weeks, so if I'm getting any information wrong, it's because when I get excited, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to say this, and this. You get to see how Papa becomes Papa. You get to see the explanation of the story of Dr. Martin Bretton. It starts off actually with Brennan's dad. It starts off with him and him in the USSR. He was in some ship, accidentally going into the planes of like the Upside Down and that. And you get to see like the Mind Flayer, and throughout all of it you see the Mind Flayer. It's really cool. You start to understand his motivations and the reasons why he's doing things, and you can understand why Papa is the way he is, because you see his dad and how his dad was like away for his birthdays. His dad wasn't there. He knew his dad was doing this thing, and like you get to see a lot of like the backstory of why Brenner is the way he is because of his dad. And even if you don't agree with his motives, you can see the connections, because he's basically his dad was the one who basically started he started the baselines of the project. You get to see young Joyce and Hopper, so you get to see them as a teens. As I said, you get to see Bob, you get to see majority, oh my god, you get to see Karen Wheeler. Oh my god, Karen and Ted are hilarious. Karen and Ted are so funny. Absolute comedic highlights throughout the whole thing. You get to see Dustin's parents. You get to see, oh my god, what's his face? Eddie's parents. You don't get to see Steve's though, which confuses me, because obviously Harrington is in series 5. All of the parents of the main cast are in Joyce's play, whether they have to be there or whether they're there for detention. The way that you see, they think that Victor Creel is behind all the attacks, so they try and capture him, and he has a bit of an episode, and then they don't actually capture the right guy, and it's this whole thing. And Henry says a thing to Joyce, he says a line to Joyce, and I can't remember the exact line, but basically it is foreshadowing about Will being like, talking about like, let's hope something precious isn't taken from you, something along those lines. Big questions I've got though is that obviously Joyce and Hopper, so this whole thing, the killings that happen are the same killings that happen in series 4, but it's with animals. So Henry, as he's being taken over by the Mind Flayer and he doesn't want to do it, is killing these animals, and he's like being taken over and he's trying to resist, but he also wants to do it because the Mind Flayer is making him think he wants to do it. But it's the exact same way that they get Chrissy and all of those, and they get all those characters, and they tried to get Max. Now, I was actually thinking, one of my questions was, how is Joyce and Hopper not recognising this? Like, that's been one of my biggest questions. How are they not recognising it? How is the town not recognising these problems. But then my mum pointed out that they did think it was Victor, which obviously makes sense because in the show, like, Henry is taken back to the lab, and they obviously think he's gone missing. But I also remembered just now that Joyce and Hopper aren't actually there for most of it, are they? Joyce is in another state, and Hopper's in Russia. So I guess you can think that, but you would just think some of the other, like Karen Wheeler and all that, they all saw this thing happening. They all saw what was happening with the animals. But I mean, Bob was actually, I can't use Bob because Bob isn't in series 4. But like, they all saw, the whole town at that point in time saw exactly how these animals were left after the killing, which is exactly how all these people were left after it in series 4. So you think there'd be a connection made, whereas I feel like it's not really addressed that much. That could just be me. I could be wrong. Maybe I need to go back and rewatch it. But yeah, I do think that the stage show, I think because it's live, it feels darker and more psychologically darker, because obviously you're there and you're hearing the bangs and you're seeing it. You're seeing the Mind Flayer on stage. You're seeing Henry doing the killings. You're seeing the US, like, government people or, like, purpose people coming down towards you. Like, it does feel so much more dark. It fills the emotional gaps. I really felt bad for Henry afterwards. Like, obviously, when I watched the finale of season 5, I just didn't feel bad for him. I was like, you know, he made those choices. He had the choice in the end. But actually knowing from the beginning he never had an option, like, he was a child in the wrong place at the wrong time, was so, like, hit me hard. Like, there's so many things that happened that really hit me. And it makes his story out more tragic than evil. It also deepens the lore about things to do with season 4, because it did happen, but also to do with other things as well. You do see right at the end, Henry comes out and 11 is there. I can show you a little bit of this because Jamie Campbell Bower, the guy who plays Vecna Henry in the TV series, actually did a Broadway debut, and apparently he's going to be in the Netflix thing. Show you guys that on our insert here.
It's time to meet your brothers and sisters. Are you ready?
Yes, Papa.
Takes you through from him being very small to 11 when he first meets her. It's really cool. She's the same shot as what you see in the show, where he sort of says hello and goes and sits next to her. But other than the show, there's so much to explore. Like, there are Easter eggs everywhere. You need to look around. Obviously, we were in the stalls, as you could see, so we only saw certain parts of the Easter eggs, but there were posters everywhere. There was quotes. They had things coming up on the screens. Like, the show was filled with so many Easter eggs. The venue had Stranger Things references everywhere. There were vintage cinema posters, background props, like things around. There were lots of subtle nods to the events that happened. The characters have Scoops Ahoy, which was amazing. So there are merch stands on each level, which are where the drinks are. You can get like little bits of merch as well. I did get a Stranger Things like plastic cup, which says The First Shadow on it. I think it's in my car still. So, because I use it as my car cup. So I actually need to get that out. So I can't show you at this precise moment in time, but you can get things like pin badges, tote bags, programs. I believe we got a program. As I said, there's Scoops Ahoy. The setup was amazing. They are fully in character. It's fully dressed up as they're in the outfits. The staff are hilarious. They're so great. You can get ice creams and cookies. Now, we had both of the ice creams and both of the cookies. I would say out of the ice creams, my favourite was the Upside Down. The cherry flavour in it, oh my goodness, was so good. That one was called the Upside Down ice cream. It was recommended that you got the ice cream and everything before you went in, before the interval, because apparently during the interval it gets absolutely crazy there. You can literally spend your whole interval like waiting for it. So we were really glad that we got it before. So what we did was we shared the ice creams, had a little bit of the cookie, but they did have cookies within the ice cream, I believe. Or if not, my parents put a little bit of the cookies in. And then afterwards, my brother got the cookies out and we had the cookies during the interval. I also had my Strange Things slush puppy, which was great. It was pretty expensive from what I remember. I want to say like £8 minimum, but I did get the little tumbler with it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend, if you can, get the food before. I think a Scoops Ahoy is only as you go in like the main entrance. There is other side entrances as you walk down where you can get merch and stuff, but to go in, you had to go like round the venue onto the other side and then in, unless you were in like a specific set of seating, because they had different doors open for different seats. So we were in the store, so we were right around the other side. It was all amazing. It was all absolutely divine. And yeah, the show was just great. The acting was phenomenal. The performances were impeccable. It was so intense. There were so many moments when I jumped, so many moments when we're like, oh my god, it's so-and-so. Stage effects, the acting, the mind space sequence, everything was brilliant and blew my mind. That's everything I've got to say so far. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure you give it a thumbs up. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment below. Is there anything you'd like me to discuss or go into more? If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more magic, mayhem and travel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell on so you are notified every single time I upload. And if you want to see any more of my videos, please click here. Hope you're having a magical day. I'll see you soon. Bye guys.